welcome back here to Primetime Sports Media. My name is Andrew Nance. Welcome to the first edition of Road to Bloomington Normal. So this is going to be weekly. So this is the road to the state tournament. So basically, around October, we're going to break down, postseason stuff for football and volleyball, talk about a little bit of it and what's going on right now across the 815 and the 815 or whatever. So we're going to kick things off in a big matchup this week between a powerhouse of the Northwest Upstate Illini Conference and the powerhouse of the Big Northern, and that was Byron and Dupac. So Dupac and Byron, this game I thought on paper was going to be a good one, for both sides. They wanted to test each other, for the postseason and for the road ahead to kind of see what the team could do. So Byron won this one 42-14 was the final score. Byron kind of took the game second half and won it 42-14. So throughout this game, Dupac, came in, played physical. This game kind of, there were times where they kind of played Byron at their best, but Byron, they still did it with playing Byron Tiger football. So they still find a way to get a win as well. So right now, Dupac is currently 5-1 and still unbeaten in the conference play. So they got some big matchups coming up in the Northwest Upstate Illini Conference. So this Friday, it'll be heading to Forston on the road against Forston. Forston has a 4-2 record. They're also looking to get a playoff spot as well. And that is the Forston Cardinals. And then the Stockton and Lena Winslow, they'll end off week 8 and 9 with the big powerhouses in the conference. So these games, like the Stockton one, is going to be a big one as well. So they're going to be at home playing Stockton, and then Lena Winslow as well. So Byron, they could possibly end it on being a conference champion. So this Friday they'll be heading to Genoa Kingston. So making that trip down Route 72 to Genoa Kingston, and then they'll be at home on week 8 against Rockford Lutheran, and then week 9 versus North Boone on the road, as they'll head up to North Boone as well. So in the NUIC, so Dupac needs, if they want to win the conference themselves or have a conference title all themselves, they need to outwin the next three. So they have to beat Forston, Stockton, and then Lena Winslow if they want to finish with the 9-0 record and also have the NUIC conference title to themselves. Unless, let's say Dupac does beat, or this could happen. Let's say if Dupac somehow beats Stockton and then they go on to beat Lena Winslow the week after, and then probably it'll be Stockton and Dupac will share a conference title as well. And then also for a freeway tie. So what Dupac needs to do, they need to beat Stockton week 8, and then Lena needs to beat Dupac in week 9. So for the NUIC conference fans, so the conference race has gotten a little more interesting. I think it's going to be week 8 or 9 if Dupac somehow gets a win over Forston. So for Byron and Dupac, this might be not the only time they'll see each other. So there's possible chances that they might see each other again, as both of them are in Class 3A. So the two possibly, I feel like they're going to see each other, will be the second round or the quarterfinals, one of the two. So basically, in their little series, Byron has the lead, I believe, with a 2-0 right now in their little history between the two. They did meet in 2019. Byron won that matchup in 2019 and 2023. Both won those matchups. They did meet in the second round in 2019. while Byron went on to go capture a state runner-up trophy that year. And then they met a couple years back when Byron won the state championship as well. So these two teams could possibly see each other again. Again, probably in the 3A second round of the playoffs or in the quarterfinals, but we'll see. So we go westward to the Western Big Six. The Golden Warriors are red hot, are a red hot team right now, as they're sitting at 4-2 right now overall, and also only have one loss in the Western Big Six. And we're going to talk about the Western Big Six right now. So we talk about the Golden Warriors. So Sterling is currently red hot right after that huge win over United Township a couple weeks ago. As they went on, it kind of looked like, UT kind of had a little bit of the lead when I first tuned in, when I was at the Stillman Valley Byron game, when I was checking on the score of it, but Sterling kind of clicked that game right in the second half of it, scoring I believe 42 points that game. What's the final? Oh, 49. Yep, it was 49 that they scored on United Township, finishing with the final score 49-28. So UT right now is at a point where they're free, and basically you started off hot with the 3-0 record, but then you kind of fell apart with the 3-0 record. So United Township, they're coming up with a loss to Quincy as well. So they're going to be another team that a lot of people, I think, might say, can UT make the playoffs this year? So UT, so they have to get this win versus Rock Island on the road against Rock Island in week 7. So week 7, and then week 8, you got a huge game week 8 versus Moline, and then week 9 versus Allman if they want to go 6-3 with the record. As of now, Moline is the only team that's sitting on top of the Western Big Six right now. So the big matchup in the Big Six this week will probably be Sterling and Geneseo. Both Geneseo and Sterling are sitting with the 4-2 records as well. Geneseo coming off a huge win over Galesburg on Friday night on the road against Galesburg. Sterling had a huge blowout win, 55-13 over Allman on their homecoming night as well. So when I looked at that game, they played really well. I gotta give credit to the offensive line. They played really well throughout that game, first half and second half as well. So this Sterling team, they're kind of we're a little young at the season, kind of had a little rocky start week 1 at Metamora, but then week 2, it was kind of like, when they blew out Irvin Prep 47-0. I thought, after that win, hey, there might be chances that, week 3, you got Moline coming to town, and then, you lose to them 36-20, but then they just, bounce back with the wins, with UT piling up the wins. Clearly right now, they're red hot in the Western Big Six. And also, not the only team that's red hot, but Geneseo as well, I believe, is red hot as well. Geneseo also red hot after their loss to Moline as well. 28-7 loss back in September 19th. So for that matchup Friday, for anyone that follows the Western Big Six, between Sterling and Geneseo down at Bob Green Field, the winner of this will be playoff eligible in that game, and I think it's going to be a really fun one. I know the last 2 years, I think the Geneseo Sterling games have been more close, but Sterling has still won that game. I believe Sterling has been beating Geneseo since either 2013 or 2014. They have been beating Geneseo. I know it's been a decade since Geneseo hasn't beat a Sterling football team. I think the last time Geneseo did beat Sterling was back in 2013 when they went on a state runner-up run. I think it was back when they had a state runner-up run, and that was 2013 as well. I know 2014 they made it to the quarterfinals as well. So for both Geneseo and Sterling, these two teams, when I talk about the Western Big Six, I think those two, when you look at the Western Big Six, I think those two teams, they're going to do good in the postseason. I think they're going to do good. Sterling, Geneseo last year, they made it to the second round, first time I believe since 2015 that Geneseo's won a playoff game. Last year, I believe it was around that time last year that they won their first one since 2015. So Geneseo, I think they're going to be really good postseason. Sterling too. I think both schools are going to have really good runs in the postseason as well. So moving on, we're going to go to United Township. So lastly, I talked about them. Can the playoff run? Can we get things happen to what the beginning of the season looked like? So for UT, it was an undefeated start with a 3-0 record. Going into week 4. So they beat an LP, Munchland Prep, and then Galesburg, from week 1 to week 3. And then once they got into that Sterling game, it kind of looked like a bit that, when I first tuned in, I'm like, well, UT, we'll see if they could run away with it. But then, second half or whatever during that game, I believe Sterling, got things rolling into that game. And then the week after that, they went into Geneseo. I think had the lead in that game, but then Geneseo somehow, found a way to take the win up there on the road to Geneseo. And then last week, they took on the Quincy Blue Devils last week. It was really close one of the game. The only times UT had the lead was they had the lead a lot throughout the fourth quarter. Fourth quarter had the lead, and then I believe Quincy got a touchdown somewhere in the fourth quarter as well. So this game for United Township versus Rock Island is, for these next 3 weeks is, can we find a way to get into the postseason or become playoff eligible? So, they could, get a 5-4 record. Let's say, Rock Island, they beat Rock Island this week on the road at Rocky, and then, they could get a win versus Moline as well. As well as they make that 11-mile trip, or that 11-mile rivalry trip down the road between East Moline and Moline. And then probably get that win over Alleman as well on the road there. Rock Island Alleman, either at Rocky or at Augie down there. So basically it could be 5-4 or 6-3. I did talk a little bit when I was talking about Sterling a bit a while back in the video. So I think, they could. United Township, I kind of had them going either 5-4. I think in my prediction going 5-4 and actually becoming playoff eligible as well. And then in the Quad Cities region, you have Moline as well. I think, both schools, they're going to make the playoffs. Moline's coming off a 62-7 win over Rock Island on Friday night. So they'll be taking on Alleman. They take on Alleman, and then they'll take on UT, and then they'll end the season with Galesburg. So most likely, when we look at the conference standings of the Western Big Six, so we're going to point that out. So So we have a freeway tie for second right now between Geneseo, Sterling, and Quincy. So Quincy this week takes on Galesburg, and then Sterling also this week takes on Sterling. Geneseo will take on this week to break the freeway tiebreaker down there in Geneseo, and then Sterling will also play Quincy in week 8. Pretty fun matchup there. Probably a pretty fun matchup as well on paper. I should say a fun one on paper between the Golden Warriors and the Blue Devils as well. And that's the Big Six standings. And now we go to the other conferences as well. Next up, we have the Big Northern Conference. Byron, still the only team unbeaten right now. Dixon, current right now, is sitting at second with a 5-1 record. Dixon already playoff eligible, already eligible for the playoffs. So the only team that needs to become playoff eligible on Friday is Oregon. If they can get a win over Stillman Valley, on Friday up in Stillman Valley, the Hawks will be playoff eligible as well. The only teams that need to get a win, they're looking to get their first win, those are the Rock Falls Rockets and the Rockford Lutheran Crusaders, as Lutheran will play at home against North Boone, and Rock Falls this week will be their turn to play non-conference as they take on the Illinois Valley Central Ghosts out of Chillicothe as well. And next up, we go to the Interstate A Conference. Canelan and Morris already playoff eligible. The only teams that need to get a win in order to become playoff eligible. So LP, they need a win over Sycamore to keep their playoff hopes alive, and also to keep alive if they want to be playoff eligible. And then, Rochelle, they're still ineligible to make the playoffs. They're sitting with the 3-3 record. They're going into Morris to take on the Canelan Knights as well. So first off, I'd like to mention, for all the high school football fans here, that follow Northern Illinois high school football, I want to send prayers to Rochelle running back Dylan Manning. As you guys don't know, he suffered an injury, head injury Friday night in their game versus Morris. He also went under surgery on Friday night. So to all the Northern Illinois high school football fans out there, please send your prayers to the Manning family and the Dillon and the entire Rochelle community as well. And also some huge news already that we've heard, that Byron quarterback and DB and also baseball stud Andrew Talbert already has announced his commitment to University of North Carolina. As of right now, if you guys don't know Andrew Talbert, he's also Byron's quarterback, defensive back. He can do everything for the Tigers as well. So Talbert also has another year of high school in him. Right now, Talbert's only a junior, and that's already a commitment already. So he can decommit or recommit as well to wherever school he could. He is a junior as well. He'll be going. So the sport that he's committed to North Carolina is baseball. He's currently right now. He's also a football standout and a baseball standout as well. So for the Interstate A, Sycamore and Rochelle are the only three sitting with the 3-3 record. So for both teams, they need a win over Canelan and a win over LaSalle Peru in order to stay alive in the playoff hopes, or keep their playoff hopes alive. After this week and either next week, and because if they do win this week and then lose next week, then it comes down to week 9. It'll come down to week 9. So next up, we go to the Three Rivers Conference. Mercer County's playoff hope or playoff is already knocked out. Playoff hopes are knocked out already, so they're eliminated from playoff eligibility. Riverdale and Newman sitting at the 5-1 record. They are already playoff eligible as well. Sterling Newman Comets. Riverdale Rams need to win on Friday night, also against Sterling Newman at home, in order to be playoff eligible. And then Rock Ridge, the only team that's currently not the only one on the Three Rivers Rock side as well. Then on the Three Rivers Mississippi, Mount Roseville, also the other unbeaten team on the Three Rivers Conference as well. So they're taking on Hall with the 3-3 record as well. And then Princeton and Mendota. So Mendota needs a win over Princeton Friday night to keep their playoff hopes alive. They want to be playoff eligible. So week 8 and 9, they have to outwin their opponents, outwin these next 3 in order to become playoff eligible as well. Princeton, they're sitting in with the 3-3 record. So they are still alive in the playoffs for playoff eligibility. They have to win. They can become playoff eligible in week 8. Week 8, if they do win, or either in week 9 if they do lose this week and then win next week, and then it'll come down to week 9 as well for playoff eligibility, and also Spring Valley Hall as well. And that is the Three Rivers side. And we go to the Northwest Upstate Illini Conference as well coming up. So Northwest Upstate Illini this week is Fulton's turn to go play non-conference game. So in the Northwest Upstate Illini, the only teams that are still remaining in the playoff race are the Forreston, DuPac, Stockton, Eastland, Pearl City, and Winslow as well. So this week we have Galena and Lena. Both teams last year made it to the quarterfinals from the NUIC. Will take on each other. So for DuPac, for Lena Winslow, it's a must-win for them if they want to, keep on track for the conference race to become for the conference title in the Northwest Upstate Illini Conference as well. So they need to get a win over Galena. Same thing too with Stockton. So Stockton, if they want to keep that lead in Northwest Upstate Illini Conference as well. And then DuPac also needs a win over Forreston as well. So Forreston as well. So those 3 games are definitely going to be must see to follow. So for Eastland, Pearl City, and Forreston, if they do get a win over Stockton and DuPac, they'll be playoff eligible as well in the Northwest Upstate Illini Conference. So in the 8-man world, 8-man football, teams are already playoff eligible are Polo, West Carroll, Savannah West Carroll. They can become playoff eligible in the 8-man football side if they get a win over Ashton Franklin Center. I don't know why I said Franklin, but Franklin Grove, Ashton Franklin Center. So basically they do play in Franklin Grove as well. So my bad, I got the name. I kind of got myself a little mixed up there. My bad. So Amboy, I believe Amboy is already playoff eligible, so there's no results yet from their game unless they had a bye or whatever. Because basically 8-man football, depending on 8-man football, because I followed 8-man football like before, and I don't know how the system works. So basically, what it says on Max Press, they do get the win. If they get the win, I believe they'll be playoff eligible. Because I know it's hard to tell with 8-man. I think they already did qualify, but unless they didn't put their game on there as well. So we go to the volleyball side. We go to the volleyball side of things now, and we're going to kick things off with the Erie Provincetown Panthers with the subsectionals and all that, as they have already have the subsectionals and the seedings, and we're going to be talking about some teams as well from the volleyball side as well. So for all you volleyball fans, so we like to mention this out. So this week, the state, the brackets will be coming out about 4 o'clock on Friday as well. So here are some of the, so in the subsectionals, so Amboy in the 1A, we go to the 1A side. I think so. Here we go. All right, so in the subsectional A, so Samasoak and Yorkville Christian, so Amboy, AFC, Forston, Morrison, Polo are all in the Samasoak and the Samoan Sock, or whatever it's pronounced, and Yorkville Christian are the two hosting their regional. So in the other subsectional B, you have Dakota, Duran, Savannah West Carroll are also hosting regionals. So Warden, Stockton, Scales Mountain, Pecatonica, Pearl City, Orangeville, Milledgeville, Elena, Winslow, Eastland, River Ridge, Galena, Bolton, and East Dubuque. So a whole entire Northwest Upstate Illini teams in the subsectional B. In the Eastland sectional, so those are the subsectionals that are what I'm going through is the subsectionals as well. So we go to the Marengo super sectional side, so the Rockford Boylan sectional. So most of the teams from the BNC and beyond are in the subsectional B. So Genoa Kingston and Stoma Valley will also be hosting regionals. So in their subsectional is Byron, Marengo, North Boone, Richmond Burton, Rockford Boylan, Rockford Lutheran, and Rockford Christian. Winnebago are also in that subsectional. And finally, we go to the Port Byron Riverdale sectional. In that subsectional A, Rock Falls and Princeton will also be hosting regionals, I believe. So in that subsectional A will be Kewanee, Mendota, Oregon, Riverdale, Erie Provincetown, who is currently red hot. They've only had 2 losses this season already, so they're probably going to be a favorite in this one as well. Sherrard, Spring Valley Hall, and Sterling Newman. And then in the subsectional B, you have Lido, Mercer County, Canton, Chillicothe, Illinois Valley Central, El Paso, Gridley, Eureka, Farmington, Monmouth-Roseville also hosting a regional, Peoria Manual, Peoria Notre Dame, and Rock Ridge. Moving on to the free A side. And now we go to the free A side. So Sterling and Rochelle will also be hosting regionals as well. So in their subsectional, you have Dixon, Freeport, Morris, Ottawa, Plano, Rockford East, and Sycamore. And then in subsectional B, you have Limestone, Dunlap, East Peoria, Geneseo, LaSalle, Peru, Metamora, Streeter. So Washington and Galesburg are also hosting regionals in their subsectional. So LaSalle, Peru, we've seen them before, twice here on Prime Sports. They're a favorite as well going in. So they've only have one loss under their belt, and then the same thing too with Geneseo. They have a couple losses on their belt throughout their season, and they're also sitting in second place in the Western Big Six right now. So Geneseo, they're 12-8 right now, 7-2 in the Western Big Six. So we watched them, I believe, last week when they played Sterling last week as well. So moving on to the 4A, the Class 4A. In Class 4A, so as we get it. So Cal will be hosting the Super Sectional, as most of the AM5 teams are in the subsectional B, part of the Hampshire sectional. So Huntley and Rockford Guilford will also be hosting regionals. So in their subsectional features DeKalb, Hampshire, Manchester Park, Harlem, Rockford Auburn, Jefferson, and Rockhampton. Rockford Guilford is also hosting the regional. And then in their subsectional A up there, Libertyville and McHenry are also hosting regionals. In theirs, you have Gurney Ground, Alkin Jacobs, Fox Lake Grant, Gurney Warden, Meldon, Round Lake, Wauhegan, and then Zion Benton are also in that sectional as well. So for volleyball, the sectionals are out right now, and then now we go to the soccer regionals. I know those come up. Those are coming up, or the bracket's out. So the bracket is already out as we are looking through it right now. So once I get the first, so Sterling will be playing East Peoria, as they are going to be playing on October 20th, part of the East Peoria Regional against Limestone as well. So Dixon also will be playing up in Aurora Marian Academy against Aurora Central Catholic, and then so basically they're part of that regional as well, basically in the same sectional as well. So Boylan East, Canelan, Burlington Central, and Sycamore will be in the Burlington Central regional, and then finally Freeport, Rochelle, and Belvedere will play each other in their first game. Winner of that will take on Harlem at Belvedere, part of the Belvedere Regional, as Belvedere North and Freeport will also play each other in the boys soccer for regionals right now for the postseason side. Moving on to Free A, as we are going to kick things off with, as Rockford Jefferson and Rockhampton will also be playing in the Gurney Ground Regional. So they'll be taking on Gurney Ground, so that's who Rockton Onega will take on, and then Rockford Jefferson will have to take on St. Charles East as well, and Rockford Auburn will take on Alkin Jacobs as well. Winner of that takes on Huntley, part of the Huntley Regional as well. So the postseason, I believe, for boys soccer will start. So most of the games, I believe, semifinal ones begin either October 21st, October 22nd. That's when the postseason starts. So Friday, the brackets for volleyball will be out. And then the football ones don't. So the football ones don't come out until 3 weeks, basically, right around week 9. So basically, they'll come out on a Saturday as well. So the pairing show, I believe, will be streaming on the IHSA's NFHS page. So make sure to tune in to that one to follow your local high school football team to find out if one of them is playoff eligible. If you guys want to find out who they're playing, first round, and also have a great night, and we'll see you next week.